Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a video that I saw on another booktuber's channel, and that is Yamini from The Skeptical Reader. I basically just saw the title of her video. I didn't watch it myself because I didn't want for it to influence my own video that I'm going to do right now. But basically it's her idea, so I'm going to link the video down below so that you can go watch that as well if you want to. If you know me at all, you know that I love big books. There is just something about a very large novel that inspires me to read. I love the fact that I'm able to stay with this story and these characters for a long period of time, and that's why I would like to talk about big books today, give you some tips as to how you can get through big books, how I get through larger novels, and also tell you a little bit about some of the bigger books that are waiting for me on my shelves. I did not prepare this video at all, so this is going to be kind of improvised, but I do have a few tips to give you. First of all, whenever you start a large novel, I do recommend that you read as much as you can before you put it down again. I'm not talking about reading for hours and hours. I'm talking about reading this specific book exclusively so that you don't pick up other books, just because I find myself actually reading many pages in that way. Whenever you do start getting tired of this specific novel, which is quite long, then I do recommend that you put it down, maybe pick up something smaller, read that, and then get back to this huge novel. Because by then you will have made a very good start into the novel. You will have read maybe hundreds of pages and only have about half of it left. That's how I find that it turns out to me personally whenever I start a larger novel. Another very important tip is to pick up a big book whenever you are really in the mood to read it. If you feel like you are forced to read it just because you are forcing yourself to do so, it's not going to work, because you're going to be fed up with the story very quickly. Once in a while I look at a big book and I just know that I'm inspired to read it right now. So I do exactly that. I pick it up, and as I said earlier, I find myself reading most of it before I feel tired of it and put it down in order to maybe pick up another book. Some people find it useful to divide the novel into parts so that you know how much of it you have to read before you can put it down and read other stories. I don't do that personally, just because I like to just go with the flow and read as much as I want without really caring about dividing it into parts. But I just wanted to mention it because I have seen a lot of people doing it that way and getting through big books in that way. And then last but not least, I just want to tell you that big books are amazing. Make use of the fact that you are able to dive into the story, really get to know these characters and follow them for days and days. I think that's the most inspiring thing about reading big novels. And when I say big novels, I'm talking about 500+ page novels. I think I'm going to now show you some of the bigger novels that I have waiting for me on my shelves. The first one I have in my hands is this fantasy novel, which is the second book in a trilogy by Miss Robin Hobb. Now, I'm sure you've heard of Robin Hobb if you are into fantasy, because she is quite acknowledged and she is quite famous. She has written this very long series of books that are individual series, but the characters in the series are the same, if that makes sense, so that all of the series are entwined. I'm currently in the middle of that huge series, and obviously I would like to read the next book very soon. Now, this one is about 600 pages, so I would call that a big novel. Another big novel that is waiting for me is by one of my favorite authors, and that is John Irving. Here I have A Prayer for Owen Meany. I have read this one. So here I have the novel I actually haven't read by him yet, and that is The World According to Garp by obviously John Irving. Now, this one is about 600 pages as well, and I just really love John Irving. He writes really good stories that make you think. It's stories about life, and it's often stories with very interesting characters. So I'm very curious to read this one, which is a very well-loved and quite famous novel of his. Next, I have a novel that I have mentioned quite a lot recently because I would like to get to it this fall, and that is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susannah Clarke. I don't think that you would call this fantasy. It's more of a story about magicians, so that's what got me intrigued to begin with. Also the fact that a lot of people have read this book and praised it, amongst others Neil Gaiman, whom I really like. I said that I would like to get to this fall. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but at least this winter, maybe. I don't know, but I am very curious to read this novel. Next, we have a classic, which is by Charles Dickens. This is Little Dorrit, and this one comes in the beautiful Penguin English Library edition, which has an orange spine. Now, if you know me, you know that I have quite an ambivalent relationship to Charles Dickens. Some of his novels I'm okay with, others of his novels I actually despise. I do not care for them. So this is the last of his novels that I have waiting for me on my shelves, and I feel like this is going to be my last chance to Mr. Dickens. If I like this novel, that's great, but if not, I don't think I'm going to read anything else by him. I have heard that this one is supposed to be a little bit easier to read, so that encourages me to actually pick it up, but it's not one that I am absolutely eager to pick up, if I must be honest. However, the last novel I want to show you is one that I'm absolutely eager to pick up, and that is Blonde by Joyce Carol Oates. This is a recent acquirement of mine, and I just really love Joyce Carol Oates. I think she writes fascinating stories, and this one is about the life of Marilyn Monroe from she is a child till she is the icon that she is today. It is fiction, so it is written from her point of view, and I just really like both Marilyn Monroe as well as Joyce Carol Oates, so this is a great combination. And this one is just under 900 pages. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you have any great tips as to how you can get through big books, because obviously I would very much like to know, and I'm sure that people who are reading along would like to know as well. Thank you so much for watching, and happy reading.